In this video, we're going to talk about enabling and disabling the BobCAM add-on from inside of Rhino. Now, BobCAM, by default, when you install it, it enables automatically, so you don't have to turn it back off or turn it back on unless you need to. It does load every time you load Rhino. So if you're doing a job where you're just drawing and you don't need BobCAM, you can disable it. That'll actually make the system run a little bit faster. The thing is, when you disable it, you have to restart Rhino. So I'm going to disable it by going up to Tools and then right down here to Options. And then in the Options menu over here on the left, we're going to go down to Plugins. Now, inside of Plugins, you'll find all your different plugins, but the one I want to look for is BobCAM for Rhino. And right here, we'll see that it is checked that it is enabled. So I'm just going to turn that off and then hit OK. And then I can go ahead and close down Rhino. So I'm just going to shut it down. And then I'm going to reopen it. And this should disable BobCAM. Now, you don't have to restart every time you enable it. It's just when you disable it. So I'm disabling it. I'll say open up a small object in inches. And we'll just wait for the plugin to load up. And there it is. So you'll see we don't have our BobCAM menu over here on the left anymore. We just have our standard Rhino. So if I go up to Tools and I go back down to Options, I can go back into the Plugins menu, and we'll see that BobCAM for Rhino is currently turned off. Now, if we click on this, it'll actually show you the two commands you can use to launch Rhino, which is just BobCAM or show BobCAM Rhino. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and then hit OK. And you shouldn't see much change because it doesn't automatically load BobCAM. What I'm now going to do is in the command line here, I'm going to write BobCAM. So BobCAM. And there's an option right there that says show BobCAM Rhino. So I'm going to choose that option. And then I'm just going to wait. And you'll see it's loading, says not responding right now. We'll give it a second to actually load the whole plugin. And there is the BobCAM for Rhino. So we have our data entry, our cam tree, our bob art, and our posting. So there's the cam tree. This is where we're going to do all of our cam side. The add-on is now enabled, so I can use it and I can run it. Just remember, if you do want to disable it, you have to restart Rhino. But since I put the check mark back on it inside of the Tools, inside of Options, and inside that Plugins page, now it's going to be on. So if I shut down Rhino and I open it back up, BobCAM will load back up with it. So if you do not want it to load every time you launch Rhino, just go into the Tools, go into the Plugins, and uncheck the BobCAM for Rhino section, and then shut down. And then when you restart, you won't have BobCAM showing up inside your Rhino right away. So it'll actually make it load faster because it doesn't have to load in that BobCAM bar. If you do decide to turn it back on, it will make it take a little bit longer to load. It shouldn't be anything too bad. I barely even noticed it when I run it. So I usually leave it on, and if I don't need it, I can turn it off when I don't need it. And that concludes the video on enabling and disabling the add-on for BobCAM for Rhino.